Welcome back, everybody. Today's Ask Allison, all about family secrets. So a viewer writes, I have been married for almost 10 years and I have 3 sons I love to death. But I have the feeling that my middle son, who is named after me, is not my child. Should I worry about it since he's 13 or find out through DNA testing? It's been in my head for years, but I am afraid to find out. I would be devastated if he is not my son. Help me, please. Good morning, viewer. Of course, we are keeping your name out of this. It's a really complicated issue, but I wanted to address it because I could really feel your pain coming through your message. So here goes my simple answer to you. What if worst case scenario comes through here and that son that you love dearly is not your biological child? Will you not love him dearly like you told me that you do already? Will you treat him differently than your other boys? How about your wife? Are you willing to leave your family, leave her and your 3 sons because of it? My sense is no, 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 and no. So why the DNA test? What good is going to come of it? Here's the big question that I want you to really think about. What if your son finds out that he is not your biological child and his brothers are? What about him? I think you have to put your child first here. That's my opinion, but this is a really serious family issue, and perhaps others out there are thinking this too. So I'd like to bring in a friend of the show, Cindy Crane. You've seen her on Fox 5 Morning News before. She is an expert in this. Cindy is a clinical therapist with Crane Counseling in Bethesda, Maryland. Good morning to you. Thanks for coming in on short notice with this one. But I got to ask you, in your professional opinion, what's going on here with this family?
You know, I don't know all the details, but it
Sure.
certainly seems like there's a disconnect perhaps between the mom and the dad. And the concern is that this is going to reflect on the child in an adverse way. If you go down that path of getting the DNA testing, the paternity testing, you can never come back. And so what would be the purpose?
What's the point?
You love your son, and my concern really is about the attachment bonds. So what's really going on, I think, in part is about the attachment maybe the father has with the mother, but that's being projected inappropriately on the son.
Moving forward, would you suggest that this couple goes into some counseling? I asked, well, have you just sat down and asked the wife? Have you talked? And he says in an argument about 5 years ago, he asked, and of course she denied it. So moving forward, do they need to do some gut work here, or does he even need to bring it up again with the wife? Because if I'm the wife and this is your son, I'm outraged.
Sure, I think that absolutely couples counseling would be in order. Whenever there is a disconnect like this, we see the pattern recreating itself over and over again. We call it a demon dialogue. This one's pursuing, this one's withdrawing to a certain point where this one starts to say, forget it, I'm out. And then this one's pursuing, and maybe it's too late. Stop the disconnect now. Take it out of the family environment within the house and take it into couples counseling, because this is really not about the father's bond with the son.
Right.
It's about the husband and wife's bond with each other, and that lack of trust is what they need to work on to build a safer base for the family.
I think that we both agree on the big thing here, what good is going to come of it. But let me ask you this, Cindy, playing devil's advocate, if you will. Does he deserve to know? You know, he's been supporting this child. This child is his child as far as he's concerned, and I love that. But does he deserve to know here? And if he does, should he do it like when the child is an adult? Or, you know, how does he not involve this innocent person here being his son?
I think that it's got to be a personal and very well thought out decision within that family, within that couple. Does he deserve to? Sure. But to what point? You love your son no matter what. And I'm just not sure that if you've rung that bell, you can unring it.
Right.
And how do you live with that?
Right. He brings up the fact that I think he's really curious because the second son has his name, so he is a blank junior, and the first son isn't, when he said, well, why don't we do this for the first son? And she wasn't really willing to do that for the first child. Is he reading too much into this?
It sounds suspicious to me. And whether it seems suspicious to me or not, it is to him. And this is where we have to say, time out. We need to look at what's really going on here, and let's take it to a professional, because we're not able to have trust here, and we need to figure out what's going on so that probably we restructure a new bond where there can be some safety.
And he is tucked right into the middle. And having 3 children myself, I know that the middle child already might be dealing with some sensitivities, and I'm not the oldest, I'm not the baby. And what if I'm not even the biological son?
Oh, I mean, it would be devastating to this child.
Okay.
Now, if privately they find out something else, and back to your question, does he deserve to know? He chooses to know. I still think you maybe never share that information with the child for fear that they feel, you know, different than the other kids, and that already we have a hunger in our society for better connections with our father in particular.
Right.
It seems like it would be important to keep that attachment.
Oh, man, life is so complicated, isn't it?
No kidding.
That's why we're happy that we have you and others who do this good work. Cindy Crane is with Crane Counseling in Bethesda. Thank you. Keeping you on speed dial.
Yeah.
See you next time. Don't forget to send me your questions for Ask Allison. I answer a new question every Friday right here in the mighty 9 o'clock hour, Fox 5 Morning News. Steve, Sarah, back to you guys.
My goodness, I do not envy you on that one.
I know, that's a tough one. Thanks, Allison.
Well,
Okay.
we wish the family